There is a ton of secrets and unknown details about the game we have all been playing for a few decades now. I can assure you that this list would contain at least one fact you didn't know about, so watch until the end and let me know down in the comments below if I was right. Let's jump straight into it with the first one. There is a hidden landmass between the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor, and I know how to prove it to you. Take a look at this world map of our Earth. As you can see, the Pacific Ocean is stretching from Asia all the way to America, as there is no landmass separating it, which is why both on the left and right side of this image, the ocean is described as the Pacific Ocean. Now, if we checked for the same thing on the world map of Azeroth, you will see that on the right you can find the Forbidding Sea, and on the left of Kalimdor you will find the Veiled Sea. And as I just said, usually oceans or seas are separated by some sort of massive landmass, just like in real life, which is why we have all these different oceans. This means that between the Forbidding and the Veiled Sea, there has to be a landmass big enough to separate these oceans that we don't know of and have never seen before. But nothing in the lore is hinting towards undiscovered lands, so what does this mean? Well, Blizzard could technically be hiding this massive landmass from us, as there's enough theories going around for years now that the Azeroth we love and see in-game is only half the globe, and that there is a dark Azeroth on the other half that we haven't explored yet. Maybe they are keeping the other half for another World Soul Saga-esque expansion storyline. Another theory that I just came up with is that Azeroth is actually not a globe, but rather a flat surface. What I'm gonna talk about now led to heated arguments in the forums for many years now. I'm talking about these mysterious baby skeletons. For some, these skeletons are just decorative elements to make some spaces in the world more interesting. For others, it's something that leads to a bigger terrible secret hidden in World of Warcraft. A few people over the years stated that these are not baby skeletons, but rather gnomes, and although not quite obvious at first, there are indeed some differences between the skeleton types of gnomes and whatever lies here. The theory is based on the fact that in many places spread across the world we can find the model of two small skeletons holding hands. A lot of the times, these skeletons are adorned with things like necklaces, rifles, arrows in their skulls, or seen holding a bottle in their other hand. Now, as I mentioned, these skeletons are always spotted as two, always holding hands and always having another item on or near them. This sparked interest in the community, and eventually players found out that their locations are also very unusual. You can find these skeletons in tombs, behind a waterfall, on top of a mountain, at the bow of a boat, and many more places like these. Now, before I tell you all the theories surrounding these remains, we have to first uncover what they really are. Are they babies? Or are they gnomes? One big hint is that these skeletons are often found near vehicles that closely resemble gnome engineering, and their skeleton models are much more reminiscent of that of a gnome, rather than that which could be left by a child or a baby. Then again, how the hell are two infants managing to climb on top of a snowy mountain, holding a bottle in their other hand or wearing a hat? Personally, I really lean towards the gnome theory, but let me know what you think. Getting back to the theory though, many people suggest that these gnomes predict future expansions. One set of skeletal remains that were added in Legion wore a necklace and a rifle, which is resembling some sort of blunderbuss. The necklace is resembling the Heart of Azeroth, while the weapon stands for pirates. Two very big elements present in the expansion that followed, Battle for Azeroth. What's your theory? Last episode I mentioned that this gate right here is the only gate that looks completely different compared to all other gates spread across Stormwind. I also said that you can see that there is a hallway leading somewhere whenever you use specific abilities. Today we're going to check out what's actually behind these wooden bars with the help of the shaman ability Farsight. Alright, let's see what's behind it. It's empty. Kind of. If you ever manage to find your way through the gates, you could technically get below Stormwind and explore everything that is hidden there. But as far as I know, there are many other ways to get below the city without having to break open some wooden gates. So apparently, a goblin and a gnome had a child together. I'm serious. There is an area in the western coast of Dunmorrow with nothing but a little pier and a small hut named New Man's Landing. Inside the house, you will find several gnomish and goblin engineering items scattered around. Now, where's this goblin gnome that I was talking about? Well, the NPC named High Admiral Shelley Jorik was added back in patch 3.0.2 and is indeed a goblin at first glance. If you now manage to find him alive and talk to him, you will quickly notice that this NPC doesn't have the usual goblin lines, but rather the ones from the gnomes. No one knows why, and we will probably never know why, because Blizzard decided to remove this NPC when Legion rolled out. Moving on to a fact that doesn't make any sense. Near the river, between Elven Forest and the Burning Steppes, you will find a small camp with the NPCs Rue and Terp, and their cute dogs Toff and Gnome running around the field. When you talk to Terp, you will find out that these two used to be adventurers just like us, and that they fought their way from vanilla all the way to Pandaria, which is when they decided to retire and live in a cozy and quiet place with their dogs. This whole story seems completely fine. The only thing that doesn't make any sense is Rue herself. Take a closer look and tell me if you can find something odd here. Let me explain. Rue is wearing the Tier 13 priest set, which automatically means that she's a priest. Right? Now, if you take Terp's statement into consideration, that they fought in battle back in vanilla, this class-race combination can't be possible, as gnomes couldn't be priests until Cataclysm. Now, some people in the comments will say that there is a lot of class-race combinations spread in the world of Azeroth that we players cannot use, like human hunters before Cataclysm, or that she somehow used a race change in Cataclysm. But these two are obviously resembling us, the player. As Terp said, they were adventurers just like us, which means they would have to follow the rules of us players as well. And that's not even the biggest lie. Terp's armor is the Fellblade armor set for rogues, which was added in patch 6.2.0, aka Warlords of Draenor. But he said that he retired in Pandaria, so this means that someone has to be lying here. Either Rue didn't exist before Cataclysm, or Terp is just making up their story as they please.
What is going on here?
There's a cute little smiley face hidden below the Karazhan Towers. You used to be able to jump down right here, but Blizzard decided to eventually fix it, which means unfortunately this area isn't as easily accessible nowadays. You can, however, still manage your way to this place with some special Demon Hunter movement and glitching in the instance version of the Karazhan raid. The oceans of Azeroth are filled with mysteries and secrets of all kinds, similar to our oceans in real life. And like our oceans, I'm pretty certain most of these things in Azeroth are still hidden and undiscovered under the seas to this day. However, if you listen to what I found next, I'm pretty sure you won't want to explore these oceans any longer. There are mysterious signals and sound files whenever you wander around in the Colossal Depths. If you didn't know, the Colossal Depths is the sea located north of Gorgrond and Draenor. Once you're there and continue swimming past the fatigue zone, this strange sound starts hitting your eardrums. It's crazy to think that there's still so much unexplained and scary stuff hidden in our game. Where do these sounds come from, and what does it mean? Hunters can tame Worgen, or kind of. You might remember that there was a time where this statement was pretty true. In the Howling Fjords of Northrend, there's a wolf named Garwal, who is an objective of a quest asking you to kill him. Garwal's special hidden ability is that he turns into a Worgen once he reaches 50% health. However, if you, as a hunter, started casting Tame Beast with very precise timing just before it transforms, you could tame him in its Worgen form. If you managed to do that, it didn't matter how much HP your pet had, it would always stay in its Worgen form. Objectively, this was the coolest hunter pet one could obtain, but unfortunately, Blizzard's fun detectors went off and they decided to fix that bug and replace everyone's pet with a normal grey wolf, not even Garwal. The floor and Thunder Totem in High Mountain isn't really a floor. What I mean by that is that the floor in the main room inside this mountain is actually a massive drum. Whenever you jump around in this area, you will hear drum noises. Fortunately, you can't hear the other players' drum noises, otherwise you would have lost your mind back then whenever this area was packed with players questing in High Mountain. When World of Warcraft took over the world, many people got addicted to the game and couldn't think of anything else except WoW. The same thing applied to Chinese prison guards. Some of those guards had the brilliant idea to force the prisoners to play World of Warcraft and farm gold for them, which they then sold for real money. At re-education prisons, prisoners were brought to special computer rooms where they had to play WoW for 12 hours straight. If the prisoner didn't meet the expectations of the guards, they would punish them physically by beating them up with a plastic pipe. Apparently, the average guard made around $800 a day just off the farmed gold alone. The Chinese government obviously caught wind of that in 2009 and declared a new rule that bans trading of virtual currencies only if you didn't have a license for it. This little change eliminated the entire black market of illegal gold farming / gold selling, and ever since then there was nothing like this ever again. At least not that we know of. We all have one specific show or series that we loved to watch in our childhood, or even today. That series is Avatar: The Last Airbender for me, and when I found out that World of Warcraft put the characters in my favorite video game as well, I kinda teared up a little. Although not every character, you can find Uncle Iroh on a little floating island on the northern part of Gundrak, where he serves tea and tells funny stories and speaks out the occasional inspirational quotes every now and then. This NPC is named Uncle Marco though, which might make some people think that this isn't really Uncle Iroh, but the people that watch the series will know that Marco is the original voice actor for Uncle Iroh. who sadly passed away during the production of the series. The last moment he voiced was the Leaves from the Vine song, where he audibly got very emotional because he knew he wouldn't have a lot of time left anymore.
Comes marching home.
What is the most viewed World of Warcraft video of all time? Some of you might think that it's one of the expansion cinematics, especially the Wrath of the Lich King one. Others might say that it's the original 2019 Classic announcement trailer, and you would all be wrong. On spot number 2 is the Warlords of Draenor cinematic with a whopping 37 million views. But on rank 1, it's none other than Leroy Jenkins. The original video had an incredible amount of 45 million views, and even though it got taken down many years ago, it's still the most viewed World of Warcraft video of all time. To think that after all these years, nothing was able to beat the classic that is Leroy Jenkins is incredible to think about.
Alright, thumbs up. Ready, guys? Let's do this. Leroy Jenkins! Oh my god, he just ran in.
While we're at it, let's stay with Leroy Jenkins, specifically the channel where this video was originally uploaded. Did you ever wonder where that original Leroy Jenkins video went? The community believed that the channel was Leroy's own channel, as the original was uploaded on there. But after 8 years of inactivity, this channel released a disturbing Elsagate video. If you don't know, and I can't blame you if you don't, Elsagate was a genre of videos on YouTube and YouTube Kids that were labeled as child-friendly but contained themes that were considered inappropriate for children, including violence, sexual topics, and graphic imagery. The term Elsagate itself originated from the Elsa character from the Frozen series, who was kind of the main character of this whole thing. Getting back to Leroy Jenkins though, the channel uploaded an Elsagate video featuring Minnie and Mickey Mouse where they deliver a baby, which was very graphic. After that, similar videos featuring various weird fetishes began appearing every day. And once the world found out about this disgusting Elsagate meta, a war broke out against such videos, which led to YouTube eventually removing all videos and channels that uploaded content like this, including the Leroy Jenkins channel. We will never know if that was really his account or one of his guildmates, but it's still pretty disturbing nonetheless. If you somehow manage to die in the Darkmoon Faire and decide to explore the island a bit, you will quickly realize that there is a whole bunch of other ghosts wandering around the premise aimlessly. The ghosts of people who died on this island. You can talk to everyone here and find out their individual stories, but there is one of them in particular that interests us right now, Brandon Paulson. When you talk to him, he will tell you that he ran away from his home in Strom after his father tried to kill him, which is when he found Silas, joined the Darkmoon Faire, and told him that he never wants to see his family again. Whenever he talks about Silas, he's talking about Silas Darkmoon, the gnome who founded and runs the Darkmoon Faire, hence the name. As I mentioned, Silas is a gnome, and gnomes have an average lifespan of humans. But Brandon said that he joined the Darkmoon Faire after running away from Strom, which has not existed for more than 1,000 years in Warcraft lore by now. So if he was there to pick him up, he has to be at least 1,000 years old. If Silas is not a gnome, what is he then? Some people speculate him to be a dreadlord, or a servant for the old gods, as the Darkmoon Faire has proven to have a lot of connections to them. This theory would explain his existence more than 1,000 years ago, and the many deaths around the island. But what's your theory? Jaina and Thrall have a secret love affair. At least that's what the people of Azeroth think. In the Gnome Regan dungeon, you've probably stumbled across these punch cards. If you try to read them, you'll just see a bunch of zeros and ones, which is a binary coded encrypted message. Each of these punch cards has a different sequence of numbers, and when you decide to decipher these lines of code, the cards will carry messages that are quite normal. We learned, for example, that the Gnome King wears elven underwear. Good to know, I guess. The white punch card carries the most important message though. If you decode this message, it will read that Thrall and Jaina sat on a tree kissing. This obviously proves that they have been in love with each other ever since Arthas lost his mind and Jaina was available again. Jokes aside though, I really wonder what these gnomes and trogs down there do all day besides encrypting weird messages on their punch cards. Let's head to the coast of northern Vol'dun and see what's in this vast ocean. Surely it's something cute and fluffy, right? When you swim out quite a bit, you will find Heyman's hideout, a shipwreck with a few NPCs and a nice interior design resembling some sort of tavern. Right behind this shipwreck, you will find an interactable abyssal horn, and if you're brave enough to blow it, you will pretty much instantly regret that decision, as when you take a look down into the dark abyss, you will find a kraken. This writhing leviathan is a level 50 elite beast. No, hunters can't tame it, as it is protected by a few invisible walls and is untargetable. This isn't the only kraken swimming around the ocean though. On the coast of Nazmir, there is another terrifying kraken hidden in the fatigue zone. When you're lucky enough to spot it, as it randomly spawns and despawns every now and then, you will see it twitching around and moving in the waters in a very buggy and weird way. You will also quickly realize that this kraken is an undead type, which makes this whole underwater creature thing even scarier. Once you get too close to it, it will instantly despawn, which is why no one has ever been able to attack it or approach it to get a better close-up shot of his model. I don't think we will find anything cute or fluffy in these oceans anytime soon, guys. I'm sorry. This is a quick, nice little fact about the early days of vanilla that some of you might have not seen, as it was removed pretty quickly. There used to be a bug where guild names could have multiple rows. Players used that to their advantage and named their guilds using ASCII art. ASCII art are these imageries that you can see spread across the internet, mainly Twitch chats nowadays, where they draw images with symbols and slashes. They look pretty funny, but I can see why Blizzard removed them, as some people would use offensive imageries or have guild names that are 50 rows high. There is an item in WoW that created an entire cult surrounding it. This item is called the Big Book of Beards, and surprisingly has grey item quality. It's dropped in Grimbit Hole and had no use whatsoever. But for whatever reason, players decided to see this book as some sort of Bible and created an entire cult around it. If you were lucky enough to drop the book, you could sell it for thousands of gold. Even today it goes for 150,000 gold on my servers. Satan actually exists in World of Warcraft. There used to be an NPC named the Cleaner who would serve as an arbiter in a vanilla questline for hunters and priests, specifically the questline for the molten core weapons. These quests required you to complete certain tasks alone, and if anyone tried helping you in whatever way, be it a rejuvenation from the druid or a freezing trap from another hunter, this NPC would spawn and one-shot everyone he came across. His model, his 666,000 health, and immunity to all forms of damage made players believe that this is actually Satan. This entity is to this day one of the most powerful beings in the game. With the removal of these quest chains, this monster has also been removed, but I'm pretty sure he lingers around and waits for the perfect time to strike again. You guys really enjoy when I show you early alpha stuff that got scrapped before release, so here you have another one. If you take a look at this alpha map, you will see a few areas that we don't have in the game yet. There are dungeons that never released, like the Firbolg Totem in Teldrassil and the Kobold Lair in Elven Forest. Zones like Zandala, Tol Barat and Uldum were also in development ever since vanilla, but most of them haven't come out until many years later in future expansions. There aren't any concept arts or screenshots of these zones, which is why I can't really show you any more about them, but it's interesting to see how WoW could have looked like if these things released as they were planned. Maybe Classic Plus will show us the initial design of these early level dungeons like Kobold Lair and Firbolg Totem. Only time will tell. If you've ever seen the original Mist of Pandaria cinematic trailer, you will most definitely remember this iconic scene. What if I told you that you can actually find this place in the game itself? If you follow the Path of Enlightenment south of Honeypaw Village, you will discover a set of stairs leading up the mountains. Climb them and take a ride up the mountainside. At the end of the road, you should be able to see it from the distance already. This is the place where that orc and human fought each other before getting aura farmed by Chance Stormstout. If you look over the cliffside, you will see the training area where all the Pandaren trained in the cinematic, and you can find the incense burner, which you can interact with to fix it again, just like in the cinematic. This action rewards the player with the achievement Restore Balance. It doesn't reward anything, but it's pretty cool to see that Blizzard actually uses actual in-game areas for cinematics. Since the beginning of WoW up to today, there has always been this small zone near Quel'Thalas that isn't interactable nor reachable by the player, up until today at least. I've always wondered what's really in that area and wanted to find it out myself. As you may know, you can't fly in that area, so you would have to climb the entire mountain, which is pretty much impossible. So I did the only right thing and walked around the mountains by swimming to that area. Once you get close, you will see it building in the distance with an elven appearance, and the closer you get, the better you will see that it is protected by some kind of magical barrier. Once this barrier is crossed, the first striking thing is that the area is marked as Quel'Thalas. If you have music in your audio settings enabled, you will also realize that it will fade pretty quickly and be completely silent, as there is no music linked to this area, which causes an uneasy feeling for me personally whenever I am here. There's unfortunately no way to enter the big tower to see what's inside of it, so that will still be a mystery for us. If you want to check this area out, I would recommend you to go there before midnight rolls out with its Silver Moon City rework. There is a mysterious secret in the Gundrak dungeons in Northrend. When you approach the second boss and cross over the bridge where all these stone guys are and look over the railing, you will see a massive serpent tail. The weirdest thing about it is that this serpent was never mentioned anywhere, even till today. No NPC talks about it, no quest hints towards a mysterious being below Gundrak, nothing. It's just there, roaming around this gloomy dungeon. This obviously drove the WoW fanbase crazy, and one day a player decided to ask the developers themselves. In a Q&A session at BlizzCon 2011, a fan asked them what this tale was about, and this is what Chris Metzen and his team had to say about it.
Clearly, it's a super critical story point to World of Warcraft. You just haven't found out yet.
It drives me crazy, and I'm just curious.
That's the first sign of the return of the Titans. And Medivh will be leading them.
The forums will be holding you
And
to
Thrall
that.
is going to leave Agra and start dating Jaina.
I'll be very honest, sometimes really cool stuff appears in our game, and then we kind of scramble to figure out why it would be there, because it's cool. Artists love to just do cool stuff, and so, yeah, sometimes we miss something, like something cool is there, and we're like, oh, wow, I don't know, it's a snake.
If you ever wanted to meet a genie and get your 3 wishes in World of Warcraft, here's how. South of Draenor Nagrand you will find a broken dinosaur egg, and very close by you will see a genie lamp near the cliffs. If you now click on said lamp, a genie named Robin will spawn and scream phenomenal cosmic powers. Quite soon after he will shrink down again and go back into his little lamp. This is a funny reference to Robin Williams, the voice actor of the genie in the original Aladdin movie. This entire place is filled with Easter eggs of movies and things Robin Williams worked in. Oh, and by the way, I would use all 3 wishes to remove red paladins from the game. What about you? If you enjoyed this episode of Secret Facts, consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. YouTube also wants you to watch these videos of mine next, so why not give it a try? I kinda want to get into streaming again, so if you don't want to miss my streams, follow me on twitch.tv/Varian or join my Discord to be notified whenever I'm live. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you in the next one.